Hey guys, what's happening? This is Forgo Nation. A lot of you guys were curious of what I thought about White Fox. Well, here we go. As far as aesthetics, guys, I like how she looks. I like the old suit look. I think it looks pretty nice, man. I'm digging it. I do like her old look a little bit, but this is pretty cool. I'm down with it. It's one of those uniforms I'm totally okay with it. I don't hate it or anything. I like it. I think it's an improvement, but that's just a aesthetic thing and, in my subjective opinion, right? And she has 19,600 physical attack. She has 123 attack speed, 27 crit rate, 181 critical damage. Very low crit rate, guys. That's pretty bad. And she has max ignore defense and max skill cooldown. And of course, she has the leadership tag, which means she's going to buff herself with her own tier 2 passive. All of her gears are at 20. She's still a level 60 character, and she does have 5-star physical attack Urus. Well, let me double check that real quick. Let me double check that. Yeah, 5-star. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Just making sure. Sometimes I equip a 4-star. She has... all of her skills are at 6. And what we want to do is we want to take a look at the uniform here and see what changes old Netmarble made to old girl. Now, as far as the uniform effect, she gets a 10% increase of all attack and an immunity to fear. And this all applies to allies with leadership. So, Sharon Rogers, Luna, Mr. Fantastic, Warpath, Colossus, and those two characters can actually take advantage of her leadership as well as her tier 2 passive, which is pretty awesome, guys. She's an amazing support character for characters that have a lot of all defense down or characters that have the leadership tag, but if they have the leadership tag with the all defense down, she's an amazing support. They changed 2 of her skills. They changed her 1. They gave her this all defense down that doesn't apply to World Boss. I really wish it did. She would be a whole lot better if they did do that. But she does have a paralyze that ignores immunity. That's pretty cool. She also has entice that lasts for 3 seconds. Pretty nice. The 3 skill has a stun, a fear, has a nice 20% all attack buff and all speed buff. I mean, that's pretty cool, guys. So you're getting a 20% all attack buff. This lasts for 8 seconds. You're getting another 10% increase of all attack. So that's a 30% increase of all attack on top of the stats from the uniform. And that's a pretty big bump. Now, she is stronger. Let's preview the skills. She is stronger than what she was, but I think the question everybody's going to ask themselves is whether or not it's worth buying. I mean, is she going to be a viable character? Well, the thing is, let's do the 5. White Fox was already a viable character. I mean, the 5's still the same. I mean, obviously, they just changed the 1 and 3. So let's just take a look at the 1 and 3. The 1, pretty cool looking skill. You guys seen that paralyzed at the very beginning there? That little yellow there. Very nice. Then you see the 3. Now, I really like this 3. I think it's dope. The thing about it that's kind of a pain, well, kind of, in a way, guys. Depends on how you play. But when you hit the 3, it takes a moment to get the full benefits of the attack buff. You gotta wait till she jumps up in the air, and then boom, right there. She gets all of her attack buffs. So it takes a brief moment for you to get that, and sometimes that can skew your damage proc like the way you're playing. But what I like to do is I always start with the 5. Try to get the damage proc on the 5. One thing about her that's kind of wacky is she does do some hits on the 5. I mean, obviously she's going to do hits on all the skills, but I wish she did more hits on the 5. Because if she did, it would trigger that proc more often on the 5, which is where you want it. Now, if you trigger the proc on the 3, it's still going to do good damage. And even if you trigger it on the 4, it's still pretty decent damage. But that 5 is really where you want it. So you start with the 5. And I try to get that charm. Boom, she gets the charm. And then I hit the 3. I let the 3 play out for the most part till the fox comes down. And then I'll hit the 4. Get them orbs to come out so you get that heal, and then I'll go back into the 5. I don't even use the 2 and the 1 against World Boss. Now against Shadowlands, it's going to be a totally different story. I do like the new animations, and again, I do like how the uniform looks, but I'm not sure if she's really worth it, guys. I'm going to be doing a future video with old girl showing that even without, well, god dang, I hate when that happens. Son of a gun. Let's get back in here, man. Every time. Alright. But I'm going to do a video with old girl using her as a support and showing that 10% all attack that she's offering other characters, really, 10% doesn't really make a huge difference. I mean, when you're pushing the brink of a character, pushing a stage on your account to the maximum, yeah, that 10% is going to make a difference. But I think for most players, when they're just kind of going through the phases and going through their stages, I don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference. She's going to be better in Shadowland, obviously, because her all defense down will apply. And when she's using her leadership, that all defense down is going to be, let's take a look at it real quick. Is it the 1? Yeah, that all defense down, that 25% is going to be increased by her own leadership. So when you put her as a leadership, her all debuff effect by 40% is going to jack up her all defense down and the duration of it. So she's going to be that much better in Shadowland. So in Shadowland, it's going to be a pretty big improvement. But against World Boss, it's a decent, it's okay. But I don't really know if it's worth it. It's really going to depend on what you guys think. She has a Overdrive set, Stage 5. And I have a regular Obelisk, a crit damage with 180% damage proc. Pretty decent Obelisk. And her uniform is still at normal. So guys, let's take her against some World Boss. And let's see how she does. Let's rock and roll. Okay guys, so we'll just run through the rotation here. At least how I'm playing her. Yeah, come on buddy. We're going to stick it to you. So we're going to get our attack buff from old Nick here. We're going to hit her 5. Hopefully we got that damage proc right at the very beginning, which is nice. And it's pretty good damage, guys. And then I hit the 3. I kind of cancel a little bit early, just a little bit, so I can try to keep that proc back on that 5. We got the proc still on the 5th skill, which is exactly where we want it. We're doing really good so far, you guys. Now, I know this is only stage 50. She is a level 60 character. She's not super well built, but she does have Urus on her. So it's kind of one of the things, and plus we're using Nick Fury that gives her that 50% all attack and that 55% damage to supervillains, and she's offering herself 60% damage up to supervillains. We just got Wiccan in there because he's giving her that 20% ignore dodge from his passive. That way we only have to run with 3 ignore dodge strikers, and we can use Deadpool for his all defense down, and Scarlet for her mind control. We also want Deadpool because he's going to jump White Fox's crit rate by 6% and her critical damage up by another 10%, which will help in that damage a little bit. And you guys can see, I mean, right now, so far, so good. Everything's going as planned. The proc staying on the 5th skill. We use the 5, then we use the 3, then we use the 4, or then we use the 5, then the 3, then the 4. And it seems to be doing really good so far. And it's smooth sailing. I mean, the girl is easy as hell to play. But the thing is, guys, she was already easy to play with her base kit. White Fox was already a really great character. So, how much of an improvement is it? Well, she's going to do about, I'd say 3 to maybe 5 World Boss stages more, which is pretty significant. So if you're looking for her to do higher World Boss stages, maybe you should pick it up. Some people say she's going to be better in PvP, but I'm a PvE oriented player. And honestly, guys, as far as PvE, maybe she will be better. I don't really know. I don't really get into those game modes, so I really couldn't tell you. This is where what I care about is PvE myself. But I think most people are just going to use it for a support character, and that's just the truth of it. Most people, that's what they're going to use her for, And is it worth it? If you're just using her for a support character, is it worth it to buy this uniform to get immunity to fear for your allies and get a 10% all attack buff? I mean, in some situations, yes. I think for some people, if they're really pushing their World Boss stages, they really need every little advantage that they can get. Yeah, it's probably worth it for those, selected players. But for players that are just going to mainly use her for Shadowland, they're not really trying to push World Boss. They just use her as a support character to help the other characters that have that leadership tag, or maybe have some all defense down. I don't really think it's worth it unless you just love the aesthetics and you love White Fox. And that always goes without saying. If you love the character, you should always buy whatever and make them whatever you want them to be. No matter how good or how bad they are, the games are all about having fun. So if you love this character, I say go for it. But if you're just looking for someone that's going to really help your World Boss clears, yeah, if you're pushing to the brink, yeah, she'll help. And she's definitely going to do better in Shadowland. So it's really just going to depend on where you're at in the game, guys. What your goal is in the game. But You know, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying the uniform. I don't think it's anything spectacular. For me, she's just going to be mainly a support character because on my roster, I have, you know, the tier 3s and a lot of strong characters, and I would prefer to use them over her when I'm doing world boss clears. So that's why I would be using her mainly for support. Doesn't mean she can't do decent world boss levels. She can. If she was level 70 and I had her built up a little bit better, guys, she could easily do stage 55 and maybe even higher, which isn't too bad with this team. That's not too bad, guys. Just using Nick Fury, that's not too bad. But it's nothing special. So we're going to pause it right here because I do want those speed books, but I'm actually working on playing against Quicksilver and trying to get those speed books from there. So I don't want to finish this fight. So guys, let me know what you think about White Fox. And are you enjoying her? Did you buy her uniform? And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.